Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, the impeachment motion of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was initiated, and already yesterday the Speaker was notified and the matter is now on the floor of the House. That means they will be suspending all other business to focus on this impeachment, including, of course, public participation, which will take place somewhere on Thursday next week. Now, with this move, we saw a discussion around the issue of security. And there are three people who spoke to the issue of security. Number one, the minority leader, Junet Mohammed. Number two, MP Farah Mali. And lastly, the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah. Now, when it came to Junet Mohammed, he talked about the security of the members of parliament, 291, who signed their signature to the motion of impeachment to allow the debate to be discussed. According to Junet Mohammed, Senator Moses Wetangula, the Speaker of the National Assembly, should guarantee all members of parliament signing to this motion their security, that nothing will happen to them until the end, when they will be voting for this motion of impeachment. What is Junet Mohammed trying to tell the public on this?
Says, Mr. Speaker, as you're aware, there are members from our side and members from the other side who have signed to this petition, to this motion, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I wanted to get your assurance as the boss of this house, as the leader of this house, as the speaker of this house, Mr. Speaker, that the 291 members of parliament who have signed to this motion, Mr. Speaker, their safety and security will be guaranteed, Mr. Speaker. Because the motion does not end at the tabling, at the notice of motion today. It will go through a process. It will be formally again moved. Members will debate, and members will vote on it. Mr. Speaker, we want those 291 members of parliament to turn up here the day of voting, Mr. Speaker, without missing any one of them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have just passed the new Inspector General of Police the other day here, Mr. Kanja. Not really. He must take responsibility as the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety, as the Inspector General of the country, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety and the security of the 291 members. Mr. Speaker, you know this thing. What we are doing is not a small thing, Mr. Speaker. When Trump was being removed, was being impeached in the United States, Mr. Speaker, you know what he attempted to do. And what can happen here, you know, Mr. Speaker. And let us not fight. Let us not begrudge anyone, because what the House is doing is constitutional, because the House is just exercising its mandate. It's not doing anything outside the Constitution. There is nothing unconstitutional that's happening in this House.
Now, definitely, from Junet Mohammed's statement, one would easily conclude that Junet is telling us that the person they are going to try and impeach on the floor of the House is so dangerous, and therefore he can organize to deal with the members of parliament whom he believes they are going to vote for his impeachment. Or the close allies of this person can be used to organize, maybe sometimes even the abduction, including even killing or threatening these members of parliament so that they don't turn out to vote for the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. That is the message from the minority leader, Junet Mohammed. And even he went further to, talk about the IG of police, Kanja, where he's coming from. But quickly he changed his statement. In fact, what he was saying was that IG Kanja is coming from Mount Kenya, to be specific, Nyeri. It is true. CDF is also coming from Mount Kenya and specifically Nyeri, Kariri. So that is something that Junet Mohammed wanted to talk about, but he knew the consequences of that and the kind of debate it will bring about. So he quickly changed the statement. But his idea is that IG and CDF are both coming from Nyeri, which is a home county to regard the Gachagua. So Gachagua can still use this as his own people to deal with the members of parliament who are going to vote for this motion. I think that is the message in my view. Now, when you see these members of parliament discussing this issue like this, you would think it was just by the way. No. They are trying to act PR so that you think this is just something that has just come out. But the fact is that everything in the politics is always planned. And so everyone is always assigned what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. So this was very well planned. It is not a coincidence or an accident. No. It was well planned. Junet Mohammed will say this. Then so and so will say this. And Kimani will say this. And the end game is to achieve what they're looking for by planting, a perception in the minds of Kenyans about an individual to justify what they want to do. In this era, in this season, someone is looking for sympathy. But they want to deal with the issue of sympathy also and other things. After this, Farah Mali came in, and now for him, he talked about the security of the president. That the president's security should be well guarded. It should be increased simply because, in fact, he said, a reckless thug can do unthinkable. Who is this reckless thug that Farah Mali was speaking about? That the president should be well guarded.
Mr. Speaker, I also join the other colleagues in this, but I have just one very important, most important in this country to raise. Not only do we have to protect the lives of 291 members of parliament who have appended their signature there, we must also protect the system. The IG must protect our president to the hilt. Because you know the kind of a constitution we have. Any reckless thug can decide to change the course of history if, God forbid, anything were to happen to our president. You get my point? And there are people who we have been so worried lately, I get the feeling that they can even have the capacity to plan something like that. Let us make sure this information goes out. Our president must be protected to the hilt until this motion is over. Because if, God forbid, anything were to happen, then we have something much bigger to worry about.
Thank you.
Now, at this situation, definitely, in as much the impeachment is going on, in absence of William Ruto, Gachagua is in charge. That means if the president is not in a capacity to discharge his duties, then the deputy takes over. If the president will die, will get mad or sick, to an extent they cannot work, Gachagua will be your president. Farah Mali is using that statement to plant fear among Kenyans and whoever is concerned about this. So for him is that if this will happen, then this man can be in charge. Therefore, he can use that advantage to eliminate the president and take over. That is what Farah Mali is trying to communicate. That Gachagua or his allies or anyone who support him can use this time to save Gachagua by eliminating the president. Then he takes over. Then once he's in charge, he will use the instruments of power to deal with his impeachment. Haitaendelea through threat and other things. That's a statement from Farah. Now, after this, Kimani Ichung'wah also spoke to the same. And you listen to that, you feel like they're trying to sell fear and hatred among Kenyans against the DP. That is it. And the perception they're looking for. Ichung'wah described regarding Gachagua, the man who is being impeached, as a black man with a black heart. He talked about the threats that were talked about before March of 2025. We will have half-mast flag. That someone had already threatened that a senior person will die. Maybe Chief Justice, maybe the President, maybe the Deputy President, Speaker of National Assembly, the CDF, will put half-mast. So to that, he feels that Ruto is the one. Therefore, his security should be well guarded. That is Kimani Ichung'wah.
And that includes, Honorable Speaker, both those who have appended their signatures, like myself, and the other few who have not appended their signatures, Honorable Speaker. The 58 members who have not appended their signatures. Honorable Speaker, just to add on to what the Honorable Farah and Honorable Junet have said, Honorable Speaker, the security of members of Parliament is paramount. Honorable Speaker, I say that looking at you because you know on the 25th of June this year, Honorable Speaker, none other than yourself, you were a target, and you know that. And not a target for harm, but a target for elimination, based on the position you hold as Speaker and the ranking order should anything happen to the President or the Deputy President, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to beg that you take with a little more weight the issues raised by Honorable Junet and Honorable Farah Maalim, because, Honorable Speaker, we have seen it on social media. We have been told by certain quarters that before March of 2025, they say bendera itapepea mlingoti nusu. Honorable Speaker, these are weighty issues. And I hear what the Honorable Farah Maalim is saying on the security of the President, and we have no business to advise the Inspector General and the Director of the National Intelligence Service on what to do. But for members of this House, all the 349 of them, Honorable Speaker, you must direct the Inspector General of Police, who was approved by this House less than a month ago, to ensure that when this House is sitting within the precincts of Parliament and even outside and including committees of this House sitting, Honorable Speaker, members are secured.
Thank you.
And even in their homes, Honorable Speaker, they are secured. Because, Honorable Speaker, I say this being privy to the information that I was privy to and you are privy to on the 25th of June, and knowing, Honorable Speaker, that as Honorable Junet has said, we are not dealing with an ordinary matter. We are not dealing with an ordinary man. We are dealing with a black man with a very black heart. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, I don't know your views in this, but please let us meet in the comment section to continue with this discussion. Thank you so much. See you in our next video, but please remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment.